tongue too long, boy.
I would first like to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. Very small, intimate gathering of friends, but for a very special friend and someone who's very special to all of us, and especially to our national psych. And tonight we have with us Dr. Hollis Liverpool, who we all know and love and grew up on as Chalky or Chalkdust. And Dr. Liverpool, I just want to say I'm very happy to have you here, and welcome to Houston.
To me, Chalky represents a major phase in Trinidad. There was a time when Calypsonians were bad people. My father specifically used to say, don't even talk to them. You couldn't even sing their calypsos. And all the people would remember that. That was the attitude. And here we have a Calypsonian with a PhD who could have moved from the classroom to the tent, back and forth, and create a whole new ethos of what it is to be a Trinidadian, to be an entertainer, to be a Calypsonian. And I have always considered him not just a pioneer, but a significant marker, a person standing on the pillar of two different worlds and doing them very successfully. And the white beard represents the chalk. A lot does follow that. And so because of who you are, and because I am a lifelong teacher, and my family's been teaching for us as long as we've known ourselves, I want to specifically say, you're very welcome. We are so pleased to have you.
Well, folks, let me say what a pleasure it is to be here in Houston. I've been here for the past, about 15 years ago I was here. And when Dr. Perry asked me to come, I was very honored. In fact, this weekend we have the Independence Calypso King competition, and a guy in Piaco asked me, "Chucky, where you going at this Independence time when everybody going and win money, etc. Where you going?" But the truth and fact is that I love to come to these things. I tell people I love to come to these things because when you come to these things, it means that people understand the art form. They understand the Calypso art form. Something that we were not taught when we were children. But I realized the Calypso art form since I was a boy at training college. And I began to study the Calypso art form. In fact, I studied history because of Calypso. I began to study the Calypso, and I saw where the Calypsonians were capturing history. And I turned into history. I was telling Dr. Perry this morning that I was first into medicine, and then I went into law, and I turned into history. And I turned into history because of Calypso. Because when people like you bring me up here, it means you understand what our Calypsonians have done for us in the country. I was in Michigan once, and George Lamming came to the classroom. And George Lamming asked the classroom, he says, "What is that man doing there?" Meaning me. And the one says, "He is studying for his PhD." And Lamming says, "That's Chalkdust." And the lecturer was shocked. And Lamming says, "Chalkdust is bigger than any PhD." He understood. I think Lamming understood. You know, sometimes we take our Calypsonians for granted, but our Calypsonians have given us so much, whether they be PhDs, whether they be A-levels, whether they have been O-levels, whether they be primary school boys. They have given us so much, and sometimes we don't look at what they have given us. Valentino. But when Ash Wednesday come and pass, the people go back to their race and class. So the only thing to keep them together is mass. Pure sociology. When I was at university, I sang a Calypso called "It's Right Here You Will Find Your Identity."
Yes. Right here.
And I left the Calypso forum and went into the university forum. And I'm sitting down taking sociology for the first time, writing sociology examination. First question in the paper is "Right Here You Will Find Your Identity. Chalkdust, discuss." And then I realized, I said, "But I write that?" So many of us don't realize that our Calypsonians are sociologists in their own right. Black Stalin. Wearing dashiki is fine, but changing your clothes doesn't change your mind. Calypsonians. And talking about guys who didn't have the benefit, not even of a secondary education, who have studied and have seen the world, have captured the world. And so many Calypsonians do it. And many of them have gone to their graves for nothing because we have not recognized them. Right. Kitchener calls a woman, he says, Kitchener refers to a woman, he says, heaven's sanctimonium. Kitchener. And many of us don't realize the beauty of their lyrics. Pretender tells me that he goes to the countryside and he sings for a whole week in the country. And he comes down from town, he and Douglas come down from the country to town. And they have a bag of orange and 60 cents. And then Douglas tells him, he said, Pretty, take care of them orange, them is navel orange, you know. So he sings for a whole week in the country, and all he got for it is a bag of orange. And I was talking to Duke last week. Duke is very ill. And Duke won 4 crowns in Trinidad and Tobago. 4 crowns in Trinidad and Tobago, and he got $4,000. And Marcel Montano today sings, when he appears on stage, he wants $10,000 that year. And Duke has won 4 crowns. And Duke's on 4,000. So the point I'm making is that many of our Calypsonians have never got the blessings of people in terms of what they have contributed. Not just singing, but contributed to human development. Because they contribute in their own way to our own development, and sometimes we don't see it. Socially, economically, they have given us ideas, they have given us thoughts, etc. They have given us beautiful sayings. They have criticized, yes, they have criticized, but sometimes many of their criticisms are even better than many university people. Yeah. Example, Dr. Sincere at university, Dr. Sincere, he says, I am incapacitated by my pocket. Lloyd Best says, I am suffering from pecuniary strangulation. Shadow say, pressure. So the Calypsonian says, sometimes we don't realize that Calypsonian said the same thing at all the university books. Tell me saying. Let me give you the last one. When I was at university once, I met a guy called Dr. Bill Revere. And he was telling us, we came to the class, and he asked us in the class, he says, what is carnival? And the students say, carnival is a festival. What is carnival? Carnival, it's a big fair. Carnival, university people, you know. What is carnival? Carnival is something we just have every year, etc. And then Dr. Revere said, you know what is carnival? Coming down Juve morning, find yourself in a band. Watch the way the ladies moving, have a push them. Sing along with the tunes they're playing. And now when again they're shouting, play mass back and all in the stories. That is carnival. Lord Kitchener. My point of it is that what the Calypso has done, many of us, sometimes we only see the melody. Sometimes we don't see the lyrics, etc. So that the Calypsonians have done so much, and outside people recognize it. So when you begin to recognize it, I am so happy. It makes me doubly happy to be here. God bless you all, and I'm very, very, very happy to be here.
And I'm so excited to be here at this really great occasion. Trinidad and Tobago has been a long, enduring spot in my heart for a long time. It's a personal person in my own personal life. And in the city of Houston, Trinidad and Tobago is a very key element of the growth in the energy industry and what we consider to be a strong partner for the city of Houston. So I'm always excited to be able to recognize the works of this tremendous country that has had a long history in the reestablishment of dignity and independence of the African diaspora. And I'm really proud to be here tonight to bestow upon Dr. Liverpool, is it? Yes, it is. The honorary citizenship for the city of Houston. We're honored to have this person in our midst. Dr. Liverpool, on behalf of the City of Houston, our Mayor, Bill White, and our city council. We are honored to have you as an honorary citizen of the city of Houston, and we hope that you come back often and really use that power as an honorary citizen. You can do some good things here with that kind of power and influence. Trinidad and Tobago was honored during the OTC conference as one of the leading energy partners with the city of Houston, and this particular honor, sir, if you come up here with me, I appreciate it. We are excited to have this young man to be a citizen of our city, and we're going to use him. It's just not going to be a plaything. We're going to make this thing work, because we need that kind of strong partnership in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Western Hemisphere of our people doing the right thing at the right time and in the right place. Thank you very much for coming to Houston.
Thanks a lot. The pleasure is mine.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, members of the head table, distinguished guests, fellow Trinidadians, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank Dr. Faizad Perry and the Association of Trinidad and Tobago in Texas for inviting me to this, your 15th celebrations of independence, and to tell you that I really treasure it, because one of the things I love to do more than singing is talking. I don't get much chance to talk. And I'm very happy to be up here to celebrate with you in Houston. And first of all, let me say that in the course of my career up and down the place, all over the Western world, as it were, where I've traveled, I have met many, many peoples. And they have all been asking me about my accent and where I'm come from, etc. They have all been bewildered by my identity, what it is makes a Trinidadian. It is something that we Trinidadians sometimes take for granted, and it's something that I want to spend a few minutes on this afternoon. It is a well-known fact that in history, our peoples have come from Amerindians who crossed the Siberian, desert, as it were, during the Ice Age. Our people came as Europeans. They came as merchants, as planters, as missionaries, as slave owners. Our people came as enslaved Africans. Notice I didn't say slave. As enslaved Africans. Our people came as indentured servants. Our people worked very, very hard. Our people came as Syrians and Lebanese and Chinese as indentured servants. And they came and they met a lot of violence, because what was indenture and enslavement was purely violence. And I don't want to go into that tonight because we don't have the time. But to give you an idea of the violence, very, very, very few persons lived in the age of slavery after the age of 28. 28 was considered to be a very, very old man. And to understand the violence, you must understand, as I tell the people in the Virgin Islands, no virgins ever landed in the Caribbean. And Eric Williams says, if you want to understand indenture, Eric Williams says, some people are angry with Eric Williams, he said that indentureship was slavery plus a constable. Some people are very angry with him. In other words, he was saying that some parts of indentureship was worse than slavery. So we don't want to go into that kind of violence tonight. But the point we want to ask tonight is, how did we, as migrants, survive that toil, that aggression, that oppression, that slavery? How did we pass those hundreds of years in that toil? While the overlords smiled and we toiled, how did we survive? Many history books have said that we survived because of family life, quite true. And we survived because of work, etc., quite true. But few history books have written that we survived mainly by two things, two concepts: our values and our traditions. I repeat, our values and our traditions. They have not been written yet in our history, some of our history books. When I speak of values, to give you an example, I don't have the time to give you all, but I'll give you a few. To give you some example of our values, we were taught, one, to show respect for elders. Both Africans and East Indians show great respect for our old people. We don't put our old people in homes. We keep our old people because our old people were the custodians of our morals. 2, we learned as a value to respect women to the extent that if a woman showed her private parts to you, then you had a curse. You had to go by a chief priest to take off that curse. Today a lot of curses are passing. Women were so respected that long ago, in the absence of police, we didn't need any policemen for our society. In the absence of police, when women were bathing by a river, men used to make noise that they may cover themselves when they're passing. One Calypsonian scholar or woman, he says, God's sanctimonious gifts of procreation. A Calypsonian. God's sanctimonious gift of creation. You can give him a clap, he's dead, but you're right here with us tonight. We learn to discipline our children, third value. Endless licks, endless ringing of the ears. Some people call it abuse, but we learn to discipline our children. My mind brings me back, I'm sorry to have all the time, but my mind brings me back to this young boy who came probably to Houston, came back and he spent 3 years in Houston, and he came back to Trinidad. And when he came back to Trinidad, his grandmother told him, grandmother gave him cuckoo to eat. He says, Granny, I ain't eating that. Granny said, why? What you eating? He says, I want Kentucky Fried. Granny said, no, you have to eat the cuckoo. He said, no, Granny, I don't have to eat the cuckoo. I have rights. What rights do you have? He said, Granny, I have 3 rights. I have human rights. I have constitutional rights. And I learned in America that I also have citizens' rights. Granny said, they didn't tell you I have 3 rights too? He said, yes, you have rights, Granny? She said, yes. He said, Granny, what are those rights? Right number 1, eat the cuckoo. Right number 2, eat the cuckoo. And then she picked up her belt. Right number 3, eat the cuckoo. We learned the power of the extended family, our aunts, our uncles, our grannies, all living in the same house, passing on morals to us. We had a passion for education. We knew after slavery and enslavement that we had to be educated in order to survive, especially the East Indians who wanted their children to be doctors and lawyers. Why? Education. We had a passion for land, to purchase land and to own land, because we knew that that was our survival. We strove to get that land. Those were some of the values that we had. We also passed on traditions to our children. And in the absence of policemen and authorities, our traditions help us to survive. Traditions are all those musics and literature, etc., that we pass on from generation to generation. For example, the value of agriculture, to plant, or farming methods, to learn, we farm by the moon and all. We learn to use the moon, the slash and burn methods of the Amerindians. We passed on all these to our children. We learned the tradition of communality, where we shared everything in common. I have rice, you have cassava, pass some to the neighbor give me some, etc. We shared in common. We had our festivals, our carnival. And our carnival is not a celebration for tourists, as so many believe. Our carnival is a celebration of giving thanks to God. Some people are shocked. It is spirits who come on Carnival Day, where they meet with the mundane world, as it were, the Moko Jambi, overseeing the visions. Here they call him Moko Jambi. Why they call him Jambi? He's a spirit. Meeting to say thanks to God. And David Warner says, hallelujah. Our Father who has given us this art from heaven. Amen. See? David was right. So we learn what our carnival is all about. Sometimes I wonder today when I see all the women dressed up in a piece of thing here and a piece of thing there, they are spirits. And we have spread 100, ladies count, we have spread 143 carnivals in the world. Trinidad Carnival, Trinidad style carnivals. 143 the last count. And we got traditions, we passed on traditions like the bush medicine of using the herbs and the teas and for ailments. Everything under the sun. The aloes today and the lime has nothing for us. We know all of that all along. All the aloes in the medicine today, we know all of that along. My mother used to rub a lime under my arm. My mother used to rub a lime under my arm. We learned about beating, and beating the percussion that gave us the tassa and the steel band. It is our traditions of as JDL says, of beating that gave us the percussion and the steel band. We passed on traditions of the chutney and the parang and the limbo and the calypso, especially the calypso, whereby we pull, as Shakespeare says, we pull feathers off the wings of our masters so that they can fly an ordinary pitch. And in that calypso, we pass on all the satirical things to our children, filled with satire. Sorry that some of these so-called today don't have it, but look at the old calypso and you will see the satire that we passed on. Those were rich traditions. I must give an example of this one. You know, there was a preacher who once had sex with a goat. 1946 in Trinidad. A preacher had sex with a goat. The Calypso, that is food for Calypsonians. If it was today, the guys were saying, a preacher, boom, 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 had sex with a goat, boom, 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 boom. That is today. The satire. Everybody came in the Calypso tent, and the guy is singing about the preacher. But look how beautifully he puts it. There. There. There's a preacher in the band with a candle in the hand giving a ram goat baptism. Those helped us to survive. Since you like it, I must give you this one because this one is a beautiful one. Eric Walcott once made up a statement in Trinidad. He says, all Trinidadians like is carnival and sex. All Trinidadians like is carnival and sex. And unknown anthem. Unknown singing is good by the key. Unknown song, he says, Avex, Avex. Derek Walcott say, Trinidad is carnival and sex. Avex, till I forget Avex, Derek Walcott say, Trinidad is carnival and sex. Then we go back to St. Lucia, your mother country. There you find all kind of sexuality. Man marrying man, and it's still a lila. And Derek wouldn't say a thing about St. Lucia. I forget a vex. You think Shakespeare could compose that? We learned the art of, and we passed on the art to our children of giving fatigue, of giving picong on one another. And some of the picong that Trinidadians give, nobody else could give that kind of picong. They will kill you. My mind goes back to a good example in picong. Two fellas giving fatigue. And one fella says, and he rhymes, and one fella says, you know the old Sandy Manite, and he says, and he comes last time he says, but let me tell you this, brother, I going around with your sister. Another fella answered, the fella said, but let me tell you this, my friend, I going around with your mother. So the fella said, sister and mother rhyme, but friend and mother don't rhyme. Friend and mother rhyme, my friend, I going around with your mother. The fella said, that I rhyme? The other fellow said, it ain't rhyme, but it's true. So we learn to give truth to fatigue. We learn storytelling and morals of the Bread Nancy and the Bro Lion, etc. And all these values and traditions kept us alive. All these values and traditions helped us survive in our new environment. So then you ask me, what am I telling you all of this for? These values and these traditions help build up our personality. These values is what gave us the identity.
These values gave us our psyche. Why am I telling you this? They helped us to survive in Trinidad and Tobago. They helped us to survive enslavement and indenture. They helped us to survive in New York and London, in Washington, and I'm sure in Houston. And if we are to be independent and to celebrate independence, then we have to hold on to these values. We have to hold on to these traditions. And if we want to survive, and above all, if we want our children to survive, then we have got to pass on these values and these traditions to our children. So independence must mean for us tonight the passing on of these values and these traditions to our children. I urge you, I beg you to do so. God bless you all. This is the song that I won the Calypso Monarch 2005 with. Hope you enjoy it. I was in town when fire burned down. I was in town when the market on George Street could be found. I was in town when Syrians came round, selling clothes to old and young. I was in town when Superintendent Fletcher drowned. I was in town when men dressing brown used to be hunting down temper tongues and locking them down in Woodbrook inside the pond. I was in town when Baptist and gone couldn't be seen on the morning ground. When beef was 25 cents a pound, I was in town. So when they're raising up the price of rice, beef and cow tongue, I already know all of them people on greedy ground. And when they're rolling up old dashing bush to make it look young, they can't fool me because I am in town too long. And when Montano tell me that I must eat ground provision, he say eating cassava will cause the price of rice to come down. This time he played pack up with Uncle Ben rice, lobster and salmon. He feel like now come in town. I in town too long. Tell Montano the economics wrong. I in town. Man him do order yam when he eating in Hinton. I in town too long. I was in town to see Pussy Chong playing cricket right by Maple Ground. When Pepper Wine, the left wing came wrong, kicking ball round strong with Eddie Allion. I was in town to see Rugged Tom, for Sporting Club used to cut men down. I was in town to see the Tank clash with Jack Brown. When Royal Theatre shot King Kong, and Lee Van Cleef used to shoot men down, and Alan Ladd and Shane came around, I was in town. When Dudley Smith used to play ping pong, and Catalose used to beat them strong, and the army was under the crown, I was in town. So when sportsmen now complaining about the food in town, they can't fool me, cause Pepper Wine them grow on oil down. gun and say in camp it was found. I know all them thief and clown, cause I am in town too long. And when I see they trying their best to jail Brian Whiteton and telling me politics are involved in that decision, I already know who behind the movement to cut him down. They feel like now come in town. I ain't town too long. Tell all them PNM bottom I ain't town too long. They can't get panic, they take it cheeky chong. I ain't town too long. I was in town when great Sir John's like Sir Henry Pierre and Najibiliah son used to hold operation fixing heart and lung. When Bubble Ups minute Gene in town and Jane Broadbell sold sex all day long and Brackley Yard was the playground, I was in town when the Lord Pretender win the crown and Zebra gave Melody become and Loose Pancho Calypso in town. I was around when Mirama had Calypso in town and Lord Blakey sneaky here long and Desmos make sour men turn round. I was in town. So when Trini say they fixing all people in town and telling me Mount Hope Hospital ready call his son, but Manning and Pandy went away for the operation. They're telling me in some local doctors here are cut on, and after I've been so long in Calypso production, Gypsy Luther and Funny wanting me sing with Monroe promotion, but Bunchy Guardian catching men and to get paid for that competition, not me and that soca crown. I ain't town too long. They rub all them fellas hands down. I ain't town too long. Up to now, the first to ain't get upon. I ain't town too long. Gonna give you a special verse. Special verse. Yeah, I was in town when Badge and Baron had them invaders men on the ground, and Bar 20 and Casablanca, Tokyo surround them. When Cambridge, Rudy Pig got turned down and demanded that Oxford be his ground, and Ranny Bab make them vagabonds run underground. When Bumper cut out Bumper tongue, and for Elmer Haynes Boise was hung, and Cuthbert Britain cussing all day long, I was around. When Pearl did used to tell men, leave town, and Blackhead Bass all punching run strong, and Marabuntas cut up along, I was in town. So when them young boys now shooting their gun and playing bad John, Gold Teeth would have said half of them straight to the burial ground. And when kidnappers today have the country tense all round, Rani Baba and Kojak would have put them where they belong. And when Mr. Sharma telling people when a Tubigonian hit you, you're bound to hit the ground. And when Satmarat say carnival only helps the African drum, tell Satmarat he wrong. I ain't time to learn. Who hold all them trucks pulling steel bands around? I ain't time to what race Shami and Baruch belong. I ain't time to learn. Thank you, brothers and sisters. It's a pleasure to be here. And for those of you who are here and I see all the clapping, all you in tongue long. But this brings me, thanks, you don't have the flu. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Edwards. Mrs. Edwards. She in tongue long too, you know. But let me tell you something about the strength of culture, because we're in Houston. And sometimes you don't follow culture. I was in Jamaica. And it's there where I see the strength of culture in Jamaica. They have three fellas that are hanging in Jamaica. A Trinidadian, a Barbadian, and a Jamaican. They hang. But you know when they go in and hang you, they just tell you anything you want to eat, they get the night before. So they tell the Barbadian, what you want to eat before the night, before they hang you in the morning. Bed say, I want some guinea corn cuckoo, man. So they bring him guinea corn cuckoo. Next day they pop his neck. Jamaican, what you want? Jamaican say, you know, ackee and saltfish. So they bring him ackee and saltfish, he eat, and they pop him in. Trini come in. Trini, what you want before they kill you? Trini say, I feel for some good starch mango. So they go on Trinidad, they find no starch mango. They say, Trini, get something else. We have starch mango this season. Trini said, no problem. I go wait. You have to ask how much Trinidad did, no? But I had to give Dr. Perry this one because this is a true story. I want Dr. Perry to hear this one. This one happened in Toronto. Dr. Perry, Trinidadian man, 82 years ago. 82 years old. He picked up a Canadian woman, 18 years. You do that now. 18. The people, the family, the white Canadian family worried. The woman is only 18. So they say, well, you have to go and take an AIDS test. He said, no problem. You take the AIDS test. They take him to the next doctor. The doctor said, how old are you? He said, 82. And how old is she? He said, 18. The doctor said, Mr. Trinidadian, you know they have a thing here called the ticker. And under sex, it has go. He was 82 and she's 18. Trini said, no problem. If she dead, I get next one. Before we go on, I want you to put your hands together and put a nice round of applause for the little band tonight because they have transposed the music. We don't have no brass. And then easily transpose this. This one is for all the Caribbean people. This one is called One Caribbean. It's for all of us who are in the Caribbean who forget we are Caribbean people tonight. I want to sing this one especially for some fellas I met outside here arguing about Caribbean. One Caribbean. This is where the I said the Antiguan fella, but he's somewhere around. One Caribbean. And you can sing the last line. Come here, King Mitchell from Grenada. Come here, Mr. Spencer. Come here, all of you from Dominica. And my partner down in Aruba. stick breaking, all you hear. You Manning and Douglas, they're going nowhere. Unless all you learn from today, that is one river, several streams, one roof cover, many beams, one skirt with pleats and hems, one tree with several stems, is one family, many cousins, one tapestry, several buttons, one mother, several children. Oh, Caribbean. Oh, Caribbean. Thank you, brothers and sisters. A lot of people in the Caribbean don't know it's one Caribbean. And the best thing to understand that is a true story. I like to give true stories, no jokes, true stories. This little 14-year-old boy come to Trinidad. They had the big CSME conference going on in Trinidad. All the prime ministers in Trinidad and Tobago. And this little 14-year-old boy come with a bicycle. He have a message for the prime ministers. The guard say, you can't go in there. Little boy say, why? The guard says, the big man inside there, you with this bicycle? Big man inside there. Little boy say, who inside there? God say, Mr. Patterson inside there. Mr. Manning inside there. Mr. Arthur inside there. Mr. Douglas inside there. Big prime ministers inside there. Little boy say, Mr. Arthur inside there. God say, yes. Patterson inside there. God say, yes. He say, Manning inside there. God say, yes. Little boy say, I better lock my bicycle. And that's a true story. I hope you get the message. But the man who understood the Caribbean best was Eric Williams. They couldn't beat Eric Williams. When Reagan coming down in Trinidad, you know, in those days, you know, Eric was prime minister, Manley and them, and Reagan coming down in those days, and Reagan in his plane, and he stopped all the planes that flying in the area, and he and Eric and Barrow and them up in there looking at oil, etc. In them days, Reagan was prime minister, was the president, and here Reagan, Dr. Williams, I want to help the Trinidadians. I am going to throw out at $10 and make a Trinidadian happy. And Barrow say, at $10? Barrow say, why don't you 10 single dollars and make 10 Trinidadians happy? And Reagan say, I have the better idea. Mr. Reagan, why you don't jump out of the plane and make the whole Caribbean happy? Eric Williams. And next time, I hope the president of listen to this one, this is a true story. And the next time when Manley Wright Williams, this is good history. Norman Manley Wright Williams in Trinidad and says, Dr. Williams, we should fight the United States. Williams say, why? Manley say, when you fight the United States, you don't see what has happened? They just pour plenty money in your country. Look at what happened in Japan. Let me fight the United States and they go pour plenty money in Trinidad. Eric Williams say, and suppose Trinidad win. True story. True story. This is a nice calypso. It's called I Can't Rhyme. And it's a calypso that I won the crown with. But it's a calypso that the people have to rhyme because I couldn't rhyme the calypso. So you have to rhyme the Calypso tonight, and if you rhyme it, I can tell you, I can know if you can rhyme. By how you talk and how you sing loud, I can know if you can rhyme. So I want to make all of you Calypsonians tonight. I call this one a car rhyme. I want to do it, and I really enjoy doing it, and I hope you all enjoyed it. They asked me up in Toronto, what's wrong with Trinidad? Chalky, sing me a calypso about crime in your backyard. I told them folks I'd love to sing, but I'm so vexed with this crime. When I'm vexed, my calypso, those lyrics just don't rhyme. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. You see, we police, it's my belief, under their brand new chief, criminals know half good brief. The next half is a bunch of fake. And men whom we put to make laws and put bandits behind walls. Sit down making telephone calls and whole day scratching the nose. What's wrong, you ask? Trinidad is class, it's just starting. 36 people playing the dog. If us, quite up in Texas. 36 people playing the I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. They asked me up in Toronto about murders and killings. Chalky, sing me a calypso about all them kidnappings. I told them folks I'd love to try it, but I'm fed up with the crime. And when I'm vexed in composing, my chorus just don't rhyme. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. Look, the opposition twiddling the tongue to support government, they dumb. They prefer drink rum and chew gum, and then lick candy gray hair. To fight crime, Parliament must sit and make stern laws with grit. But we lawmakers in the House sit and whole day they talking tribe. But from your eyes, and that is mass, but alas, 36 people play the dog. We have natural gas to make every man rich fast, but alas, 36 people playing. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. They asked me up in Toronto, what does the police need to fight crime in Trinidad and Tobago and stop youths from smoking weed? I told them our young people are not the criminal type, but leaders must show example, or else crap will smoke we pipe. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. The opposition on the whole, they disrespect their role. They treat the speaker cold, like if he's an arsenic. One of them went backstage for tea and start troubling Rowley. He say Rowley racist until he's sick, and how he's a big black boy. What's wrong with your eyes? Trinidad is class, it's just that 36 people play dog, pelted wine and glass. They play in a mass, alas. 36 people play dog. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. You have been a beautiful audience, so I'll give you an extra verse. When I give you an extra verse, the voice said too good. They asked me up in Toronto about our female women. I told them our leaders fail, cause they disrespect females. One of them called Christine Sahadio, literally a hoe. The next one feel the lyrics real slick to call Kamla an alcoholic. A vex. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my chorus don't rhyme. For when leaders make these statements, they make the nation tense. So how do you rate these two gents? They just don't have no pennies. The men we put in the high zones, the weak, they have no bones. Pandey's behavior, Ram not condones, cause they have no nose. What's wrong with us? Trinidad is class, alas. 36 people playing dog on like a bass. To rhyme on them is a task, alas. 36 people playing. I don't rhyme. When I'm vexed, my guys don't rhyme. You have been good Calypsonians. I don't look at rhyme. God bless and keep the faith. And enjoy the rest of the show.